Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, I have shared with you that I will always, always, always transparently sit in front of this camera and explain anything and everything that I, in my opinion, need to explain. I'll do it. But at the same time, I'm not going to let it stop what my message is going to be. I can multitask. I can do both. I can respond to all the bullshit, and at the same time, I can just stay on my message. Less government, more freedom. There is a group called the Kentucky Freedom Coalition. And yesterday, they posted a video of, and it says, oh, and don't tell me he was joking because this is just calling it straight. Okay, a mocking reference. And what that is was about 10 years ago is when I did a stand-up routine at the Funny Bone Comedy Club. And for an hour, I had everybody laughing. And what I did is I shot a few stories or a few of those jokes that I told on a podcast. And one of those jokes was, and by the way, you got to put it in context. When I told the joke, I explained that I hung out, and I was like 45 years old. I played flag football. And I was hanging out with young 20-year-old black men who I played flag football with. And they all had, and by the way, there ain't nothing wrong with it at all. Of course it's not. They all had white girlfriends, and they all enjoyed pot. And I used to sit around, and I'd ask them. I said, what's the deal here, okay? And we used to have good-natured give and take about it. So I told a joke that said, I'm gonna own the joke right now. I told a joke that said, if you want to conquer an African nation, send white women and pot. And I put it in context of the guys that I were hanging out with. Now, nobody got outraged at all about that joke. Nobody, except one person, a white guy living with a black girl in Dayton in his mother's basement. And they complained to WLW radio about it. I found out from Rich Wahlberg that they were just looking for an excuse because I was getting too big for my britches anyway. So WLW used that as an excuse to part company with me. Now, if it was so bad, why did the president of the Cincinnati chapter of the NAACP, Chris Smitherman, came to my defense at the time? He did. Chris Smitherman defended me. Not only that, my next stop immediately was at Real Talk 1160, and it's owned by a Christian man, Christian radio station. Okay? Now, they always tell you, see, all the players, oh, you can't say all of those things, you can't explain yourself. Well, by God, that's all bullshit too, because you always need to defend yourself. So here's what I want to say. First and foremost, you've heard me say that I was a fan of Martin Luther King Jr. I've read his biographies, watched countless documentaries. He was a sinner, not a saint, but he was a great man, and I love his passion for his cause. And I live my life by content of your character, not the color of your skin. Period. Now, in addition to that, I want you to know that I grew up in the country, and my first experience, now you remember, I was one of 11 children. My first experience around blacks involved this nurse nanny that used to come out and help my mom. She worked at St. E's every time that my mom had another baby. She was having babies all the time. And another lady that helped my mother had a black children, and they would play with us. From the get-go, yours truly has never had any issue whatsoever interacting with blacks, period. Then, when I was in the 5th grade going down to the Kenton County YMCA, I'll never forgive this, for the lack of a better word, some kid that was white trash, to use an expression, was picking on me, and I'll never forget this big, fat black kid named Jerome, black kid, took up for me and put that guy in his place. He kind of like became my protector. And it was funny. I used to buy the kid Reese cups. He didn't have any money. I had some money, so I used to buy him Reese cups. We became friends. I would love to know where Jerome, I didn't know his last name. I would love to know where Jerome was today. I mean, then I went to Latin school which, by the way, Dave Justice was a freshman when I was a senior. I got along with Dave. I used to tease him because he was short when he was a freshman. And then when he got to Thomas More, I remember looking up at Dave. Durrani clients. Deters Law represents about 50 black individuals, male and female. They will tell you, I treat them just like all the other Durrani clients. And then I love pointing this out. I have a long track record of representing black men and women who have had their civil rights abused. I'm pro-police, very pro-police, but it doesn't mean there hasn't been times when a police officer does something wrong. Just like, by the way, lawyers do things more wrong than police every day. But I have a long history of representing blacks. I think to myself, all of them, the guy that was wrongfully put in jail when the prosecutor knew that the burglar was white, and they held this guy. I fought for him. I got sanctioned for fighting for that guy. Sanctioned by a federal judge because I sued the prosecutor. I thought it was so bad that the prosecutor shouldn't have immunity on something like that. I remember Erica Collins was a woman that had a knife cutting her sister's tire, and a police officer smiled at his deposition when he gunned her down. You aren't going to find one video or audio clip of me using the N-word. Not going to see it. Not going to find it. So what do? These little Nimrod political operatives of Kamala Maddox. Kamala Maddox, a.k.a. Savannah Maddox, is behind the Kentucky Freedom Coalition, along with Thomas Massey, because they have to bring up Claire Worth, too, because we're supporting each other. And they try to take that, and they claim, well, I'm a racist because I told that joke. That is a joke, a complete joke. And I'm not letting it go unanswered. And again, every time they try one of these things is an opportunity for me to turn it around, stick it, and break it off. And I will every single time. There isn't a racist drop of blood in me at all, period. Everybody's equal. Content of their character, not the color of their skin. I follow MLK Jr.'s mantra. Guess who doesn't follow that mantra? The woke, the American Communist 10, the far left. None of them do it. And apparently, not Thomas Mann. By the way, Thomas and Kamala, you don't scare me at all, but you obviously fear me as you should. And by the way, after next week, you're going to love what happens to the Deters for Governor campaign after next week. It's going to be fun. My enemies are going to really hate the week after next. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.